What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Day1Radio right here on Livehiphopdaily. Still Maurice Garden checking in. We got Brandon Peters in the building with me. What's up, bro?
Ain't nothing, man. Maintaining, grinding, just like everybody else, man. Trying to stay out the way. Also, want to shout out our partners at CLNS Media up in Boston. Hopefully, y'all are listening, subscribing, rating, and reviewing every week as we've been bringing you really dope, really meaningful content, man. So, if you guys have not noticed, we have been, pretty much talking about what's going on now with several different guests. So we've had somebody that's extremely socially active, an organizer on. We had Big Mike on last week, who was a firearms and personal security expert. And, us being former full-time members of the media, I feel like media is such a huge part of how stories are told right now, really a lot of the information that we're getting. So wanted to have our brother on, a true OG in the game, true solid guy, man. Mr. Datwon Thomas. What's happening, brother?
Yo, bros, it's a pleasure to be here with y'all, man. Like true pleasure, because it's good to even see y'all faces, man.
Yeah,
for real.
Same here, man.
The most solid,
Exactly.
the most solid.
Exactly.
Word.
So, man, if you guys are not familiar, Datwon is currently a media executive within the whole what is it, RBC? What's the acronym they use?
It's a MRC and Valence Media.
Yes, yeah. So he is a high level executive over there, I believe, a VP, and also the editor in chief of Vibe. And once again, if you've been following the game for a minute, Datwon is the founder of King Magazine, seminal, media, and also has been EIC of Double XL as well. Been in the game for a very long time, told a lot of important stories, put a lot of people on, even more importantly.
Appreciate that, bro.
No better person to talk to about this situation than him. So, but first and foremost, before we get into all of that, man, we a couple days removed, want to wish you a happy Father's Day, brother.
Thank you, fam. Thank you, man. That's one of that is my highest title, to me. And just my girls, man. When I posted a photo of them on my Instagram on Father's Day, it was like, dag, man. It really just bugged me out. Like these young ladies, they changed my life so profoundly, and I love on them so much. Like it when I just started seeing like all these black brothers and showing their love to their family and the women in their lives and the fathers in their lives and the ones that are gone and everything. For some reason, this particular Father's Day was like even more special, because we're in this realm of this black love wave that I hope doesn't stop anytime soon. So to be able to celebrate in that way with everybody was really dope, man.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Good to hear, man. It was really dope. I saw a lot of brothers just like, and I saw a lot of, normally people Father's Day does not get the love that a lot of other holidays do. I feel like this year it was proper respect and love showed to fathers, primarily black fathers. So I thought that was real dope, man. I thought that was
yes, indeed,
dope, for sure, man. So, man, right now you were in position to to control a lot of what folks see, with the entities that you work with. And both of us have been in the game, and Maurice as well, for a long time. We've seen like crazy changes in how these stories are told, even over the last 10 years. Forget even before that, man. So like right now, with as much as the game is changing, what do you feel like is your primary responsibility as a gatekeeper in this media business?
Wow, man, great question. I feel like my primary responsibility is to tell our stories, our black stories in particular, get as much amplification that we can on these messages of unity, information, justice, creativity, heart, getting to the soul of soul music, uplifting, the youth, and saluting them on their current wave of not giving a fuck out here, and in turn of not giving a fuck, giving that much of a fuck because they are the ones that's leading these movements out here and giving them that support in the righteous way. And excuse my French, but I just feel I'm passionate about the fact that they're out here doing what they do. And I think it's our job now as Black creators, Black executives, to even inform the people that are on our teams within these corporate structures, our non-Black brothers and sisters, to let them know how important it is that I feel like that, how important it is that other Black executives feel like that, and to have their voices heard so they can help with the amplification. Because, yo, man, we've been doing this for like what, over 20 something years.
Absolutely.
And we're now getting this opening. We need them to help too. You know what I'm saying? They got to be able to help in the ways that make sense and that are true to their heart. So I think that's my main responsibility.
Super dope. Super dope. It's funny you said that opening, that opportunity, because a conversation that we've had, and when I say we, I mean probably every access.
Okay,
So,
you just cut out. You cut out real quick. Say that again, B.
I'm saying that the conversation that we've had on the record and off the record, when I say we, I mean all Black journalists, is access.
Yep.
So recently, Kanye was on the cover of GQ, and I peeped that the person who wrote the story, it was something crazy, like multiple sit downs over like a 3 or 4 month period. Something like that. I'm like, yo. And Kanye, back in our Harris days, like Kanye, had worked very closely with us before. But I don't know about you, I have never been able to sit down with a superstar for more than probably an hour.
Right.
You know what I mean? So do you feel like perhaps that thing has changed? Because I feel like there's changes in every realm of business, but I ain't quite seen that thing hit media yet.
Yeah, and especially Black media. Once again, we're the lowest on the totem pole when it comes to access to even our own stars.
Yeah, man.
Even the people that we amplify, constantly. And I can tell you a quick story based on that whole Kanye thing. When it was time for Black Panther to come out, I looked around at the junket, and it was media from all over the world, international media. And when I tell you international and mainstream white publications got the bulk of our Black stars, and they put all the Black publications in a back room. And I looked around, I was like, nah, I'm not sitting in here. Nope. As much as they try to mute us down and wasn't giving us the covers and this publication over here that never covers Black media, never covers, Black entertainment unless it's like the biggest thing. When they were starting to get more time than us and all that, I took our whole production into the hallway of the what was it? The Lamont, not the Lamontrose, what is that? The montage. I took our whole production, lights, all that, and was pulling them off their lines when they were shuttling between all the different rooms. And I was just like, nah, y'all not going to deny us our access to these people that when they do a project that's lesser, like when Chadwick was doing Thurgood, where were y'all at?
Nowhere to be found.
Where y'all at when he's doing those kind of projects? You know what I'm saying? They're not over there like fighting, trying to trample each other to get them for that. But for Black Panther with Walt Disney, oh yeah, they get all the time in the world. Nah, man. And to be able to say that now, and to be able to say that I feel like when we say that now, we're going to be heard and things are going to change. I have a feeling this time it feels a little bit different. If all of our noise and everything gets us that extra 10 to 15 minutes, it's going to help the media, the Black media that's going to come behind us and that's staying with us.
And you know what? And I'm glad you brought that up, because I mean, that's definitely one side of the coin, but the other side of that coin is probably what broke my heart when I first realized it, when it was like, damn, man, shit. the black artists themselves don't really be fucking with us like that either. You know what I'm saying? They kind of like buy into it. Oh, I gotta go sit with them from France and them from Cali and not you from Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever. So it's like, why do you think so many black artists also fall into that trap? And do you see that changing? You know, being that we're in the midst of so much shifting right now.
Wow, man. It's like that question falls right back into that Black Panther situation.
Mm-hmm.
So during that whole time, it was a full day. And I remember I had shot Michael B. Jordan for a Vibe cover like 3 years prior when he was doing Creed. And it wasn't a whole lot of publicity for that film. And when we did it with him, he was so appreciative. So when he became Killmonger, and they had him going back and forth to all these other mainstream outlets, he had come by and saw my setup. And he and his publicist, they were like, "Oh, Dip, they know me well. Oh, yo, Day." And I'm expecting him to just run right into that and be like, "Yo, I got you, bro. I got you. Don't worry about it." And his publicist was like, "Nah, we gotta run. We actually gotta leave here. I have to take him over to someplace else." And I was like, "Dag, did he even do any black media?" I wasn't even sure if he even had a chance to even see the people that were in the back. And my man Chuck and Jerry was there. Chuck Creekman from All Hip Hop and Jerry Barrow from Really Good Friends from BET. They were standing right with me. And I was like, "Dag." And Michael B. Jordan just looks and he's like, "Dag, Day, man, it's crazy, man. I gotta run real quick. Yo, I got you. Dag, man. I'm sorry." He's waiting on the elevator. Boom, the elevator opens. Goes into the elevator. I'm a little distraught, but I'm like, "Yo, my man, if he had the time, he would do it." I go in the back to go get the team some waters and stuff. When I come back out, it took me about 15 minutes. I come back out, in 15 minutes, my man was back shooting on my set in front of all those people. He went downstairs in the car with all his publicists. You know what his team is. Went with all of them. They did a U-turn. He came back up the steps, came and shot on my set because he was like, "I can't do this to our black publications. I can't to you, bro. I had to. It wouldn't sit on my heart right." And I was like, that's what it's going to take for black artists and entertainers. They're going to have to go against whatever is going on. And I know the time crunch is different than wanting to do it and not being able to do it. But it's going to take those kind of moves for me to be able to say what I'm saying now, and for him to say, like, "I'm not going to allow that to happen on my watch. I'm not going to allow for them to be hurt." So I feel like that's what artists and entertainers will have to do. They're going to have to say, like, "Nah, I can't do this. I have to go and talk to those people." Because you see it on the red carpets. You see it happen all the time on the red carpets. They're rushing them over, and then you got to yell at them. For them to recognize, instead of their publicists bringing them to the proper outlets as well. Balance it out.
Bro, I'm so glad that story ended like that, because the way it started, I was like, "Man, Michael J. Man, he was bullshit."
He's a real one. He's a real one, man. And I'm gonna tell you, man, everybody ain't. Even from that day, everybody ain't. You know what I'm saying? So I gotta give it to him, man. He's the most solid. And I'm not gonna say like everybody's gonna do that and mean it, because some might be trying to save face and all of that stuff. But regardless of what, man, the balancing of how we share our entertainers has to happen, because we foster them first. Absolutely. We bring them out to the world. They don't get out into the world on mainstream. That's not how the black success circle or track works. They come from these publications, these podcasts. You know what I'm saying? Like these brands, and then they jump up. So we have to have them realize, like, yo, we're the foundation as well.
For sure. And beyond that, once that run of being the A-list person is over, the mainstream publications are not still going to be there.
Nah, they're not looking for you. They're not looking for you. Once that gas run out of it, once that gas run out, we the ones that still be putting up their birthday posts.
Right. Exactly. Absolutely. So for you, brother, like, Vibe historically, we know is started off, with Quincy Jones and Time Warner, is going through a bunch of different ownership changes and things of that nature, man, like, do you see any like your job and how you foster talent and internally and covered talent externally, like how does that change like when you get into, you know, the Hollywood Reporter system and all of that stuff? And, you know, just because people don't really understand unless you're in media, like that EIC position is like being the president and the publicist and everything at the same time.
You got a mop too, bro.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I would have to say, man, I've been in the position now for 5 years. This is my third time at Vibe. You know, the prior two, I was intern in 96 to 97, no pay. Just did it out of love and wanting to learn the craft and network and get opportunities. And then I came back in 2010 and was executive editor and editorial director for 3 years. And in each iteration of it, Vibe had been rebuilding. And it's been rebuilding, man. It's been one of those black brands or black facing brands that just won't go away, because there's always someone like myself or Jermaine or Danielle Smith or Emil or Mimi and everyone else that's rocked the EIC position and all the other editors. They wouldn't let it die. You know, all the different executives just wouldn't let it die. And when we got picked up by Billboard and Hollywood Reporter, the initial support wasn't necessarily there, you know, because we got picked up in the Spin Media Group. So you have Spin, and you had Death and Taxes, you had Stereo Gum, and there was a bunch of other ones. And the business of media is already convoluted and twisted up and all, and everybody's worried about what's happening. Then the business of black media is even more on that lower rung, where you have to like cut corners and get good talent, but you know, want to pay them right, and then you know, make sure that their levels of expectation and what they need is expected and worked. And as EIC in these changing times, man, it's not like being EIC in the late to mid 90s or early 2000s when everything was all good. Like I feel as though I'm going through the gauntlet version of Vibe, where I'm fighting for recognition, I'm fighting for, you know, talent, I'm fighting for the kind of stories that will resonate with the people and the viewership that's constantly changing. You're fighting against new technology when you have to go along with it. It's a lot, man. And I feel as though you have to love a brand in order to deal with some of the things that I've dealt with. And because I came in as an intern and because of what Vibe has done for me, just coming into the publishing game and the entertainment game, is the reason why I go so hard for it still. You know, it would be easier, I feel, to start something new and to go to something new. But I think it is one of those things when you want to uphold a legacy brand and make sure that it's protected, because the more we lose the legacy ones and the new ones pop up, the more we lose our history of everything that we've done. And now you're starting our new history from right where it is now and not realize all the sacrifices and everything that Bob Johnson did, that Earl Graves did, that John Johnson did. It's like Ebony and Jet didn't even exist. It's like it didn't even exist. We have a culture of civil rights that's not being preserved in the right way and not being shown in the right way, because those publications for Black people that were there are no longer around in the way that they were back then. And that breaks my heart, man. So one of the reasons why I'm still here and to answer the question is because I want to make sure that we maintain some kind of link to the past, as well as try to go forward with the future and try to have some semblance of, hey, young world, we got y'all back, but here's some of the things that you should learn from the history that came before you, so your role won't be as hard and you're making the same mistakes going forward.
like on that topic, man, like how do you? I mean, it's pretty broad, but we'll get to it. But it's like, you know, how do you feel about the future of journalism? I mean, because like, you know, over the last 15 years, I think everybody's been fighting that thing between, damn, do I keep up with the internet, or do I just give up on trying to keep up with the internet? Do I try to stay ahead? Like, what do I do? But then, like, even right now in this moment, everybody pretty much working from the crib. So it's like now you're calling into question, damn, do we really need a newsroom? Do we really need a studio? Do we really need an office? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, with all of that going on, how do you see the future of this, you know, shaping out, man?
I think even before, and another great question, man. I think even before the quarantine and the shutdown and COVID and everything, it was looking like it was kind of leaning towards that anyway. You know, the current times that we're in with the shutdown just made it go faster and fast forward into what was going to probably inevitably be, or at least, you know, some form of it. And do we need newsrooms? I believe so. I still believe that there's that whole, you know, oh, what did you get? Well, I got this. That on time, boom, 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 boom movement that can happen when you're in the same room. There's a different kind of magic. And it's almost like, in pardon the analogy, but it's almost like when artists work together in the same studio as opposed to sending the tracks.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like a different thing. You catch a vibe, you get on a frequency. Not that it's any less dope, but you just have a heightened percentage of it being a little bit more melded together. And that happens with stories. That happens, you know, on shows and all of that stuff. So I would love for it to have some kind of semblance to that era. But then once again, man, you gotta go with what the future is doing. And you have to be able to utilize all this technology that we have now. And you can't just ask for one part of technology to work for you and not everything else that comes with it. You know what I'm saying? So I like working together in a group and being able, because especially growing up as a dude that plays sports, you know what I'm saying? Team sports. Ain't nothing like when you're on that momentum run in a basketball game, y'all there together. Like, yeah, let's go, let's go. It's just something about the human spirit when it locks in with everybody. But yeah, man, these times are making us view how we work and interact and receive and download information differently, man. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful to witness. You know, it might be a struggle while we in it, but it's a beautiful thing to witness, man.
Nah, for sure. I feel like I already know what you're gonna say, but you know, right when all of us started out in this game, and probably for the majority of our careers, you know, Black music, specifically hip hop, was still niche. Even when we had people selling 5 million records, 10 million records, that was an anomaly. Now hip hop is the dominant pop culture and has been for a few years. What do you think it's going to take for that to translate into us running the show, not only in media, but also in the music business? Like, you'll never find a white, you'll never find a Black head of country music.
I was about to go with you on that.
Black head of Latin music. Like, you're not going to find that at any label whatsoever. Yet there are tons of people that did not come from hip hop that are the head of Black music or the head of urban music or whatever you want to call it at these labels, man. And same thing with magazines, like a music editor of magazines, websites, whatever. And it's like the majority of the stuff y'all cover is hip hop. You was listening to punk rock and Britney Spears 5 years ago, right? You know what I'm saying? Like what is it gonna take, man, for that to change? And obviously we have to stand up and draw a line in the sand. But aside from that, what do you think it's gonna take for that to change?
Man, yo, B, and you know, like, we've worked together and we've dealt with those things, you know, as staff members together. Just being able to see, you know, who owns what, who owns Black. And a lot of times the people that produce it, create it, cover it, love it, they aren't the people that reap the rewards of its profits. And I feel like this moment right now with, like, the whole show must be paused and industry blackout, and let's make sure we promote black and do all that. I think now is the time that we're going to start seeing that change. I think now with a lot of these open letters going out to the executives and the brands starting to realize, like, wait a minute, they have a point. Because now it's so blatantly racist at a lot of times. Let's just call it what it is. It's so blatantly racist so many times that it's like, damn, they are oppressed even in their expression. Even in their expression, they're oppressed. Like, deals been horrible for ages. You know what I'm saying? It's like, all right, man, we can't keep them like this. We can't keep them like this. Where's the emancipation in that whole realm, in that business structure? And I think it's going to happen now. I think we're going to see some, not necessarily baby steps, but steps that go in the right direction and start to empower the people that should be governing our music, and they start to look like the people that make the music. And that's not to say that there aren't some talented people that aren't black that know our music well. It's just, let's balance this out, man. Let's get it can't be 70, 100. You know what I'm saying? It's like past the 100 mark. It can't be that, yo. So I feel as though we're going to see a lot of change, and there's going to be a lot of people that make the change that people are shocked by.
Yeah, no, I hope so. I mean, dude, it's crazy. I was thinking the other day, I was like, yo, we know, and a lot of the general public knows, every black label executive's name.
Yo,
that's crazy, bro.
When you say it like that, you already got the usual suspects. And what's even ill about that, a lot of the really good black music people, male, female, they're starting to go into other areas outside of music. So that dilutes it even more.
Absolutely.
Because once they get into music and they're the best in their field in music, they realize, like, damn, I'm at a ceiling doing this. So let me go and try this TV and movie stuff. Or let me try. And it's not out of them, not wanting to do those things. It's almost like this is where your career has to go, because you can't elevate anymore within the structure that you love.
I mean, it's largely similar in journalism, but for different reasons. You know what I mean? A lot of us have gone into marketing, for private goods. A lot of us have gone into television. A lot of us have gone into different things, and it's like necessary. You still got to feed your family. You know what I mean?
Man. Even if you did have, ambitions and dreams to go into other things, it's almost like, you're gonna have to do those things. You're gonna have to, and it's not. What I think we're finding out is that people are becoming a lot more adaptive to this changing environment faster than they thought they would have to be. I mean, all of us. Yeah, all of us are starting to realize, like, yo, I got to pick this stuff up quick,
And I'm glad you said that, because, like, as an elder statesman in the game, we all elder statesmen in the game at this point, you know what I'm saying?
At this point, yes.
But how have you found and went about, like, knowing, like, when to step in and when to step back? Because, like, that's one thing that I still kind of struggle with at times, and even though I'm not, like, writing, like, full, like, day to day like that, but it's like, I don't have much to say about the new Little Yachty album like that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, sometimes I'm like, shit, my grown ass shouldn't have much to say about it. You know what I'm saying? This is for the 22-year-old to write. You know what I'm saying? This might not be my space. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
Yo, Maurice, you got me cracking up, man. I'm sorry, bro.
But it's all good with dudes. I mean, to tell you the age that I'm in, like, I know his dad. That's why I was like,
But it's not even. I'm not even laughing at the fact that you used him as an example. I'm laughing at the fact of the example itself. Like, just the fact that we've been in it for so long now that there is a segment of hip hop that we're not as connected to. Yeah, and it's like, wow, we're at that point now where I'm like, like the 42 Doug dude, I think his name is, or something like that. Yeah, it's like, my kids or my nephew or somebody's letting me know about these artists, and I'm like, damn, man, because right now I'm listening to Quelly Chris and Chris Keys. I'm listening to the new Sky Zoo album.
Yeah.
I got Blue and Exile early, so I've been listening to that. I'm listening to a lot of Fela and jazz, and you know, I'm going to some of my in pockets because I feel like I need inspiration, and I might not necessarily get it from some of the stuff that's out here, but I'm not super hating on some of the stuff out here either. So I need some new voices. I need some of these young voices that are critical yet inspired, yet they're not jaded.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I need to hear from them to know, I know what sonically sounds good, but how is it fitting in the lifestyle of the people that's kind of like in that lifestyle now? I'm not in that, man. I'm track dad right now. I gotta time my daughter on her 100, bro.
Yeah.
Right. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, that's super real, dude. That is super real. Like I was out on a run this morning and I was like, oh, a lot of Sada Baby stuff is back on streaming services. And I'm just listening to it running. I'm like, this is great for a run. But I'm like, fam, I love Sada Baby.
Yep.
Fam, I'm not finna be in the crib bumping Scuba Steve like that. Like, fam, I'm like, how many different ways can you say you shot somebody? Like,
it's different. And the crazy part is we've heard a lot of those ways. We've heard some creative ways throughout our hip hop careers and our music careers. We know all the ways you can do it.
Yeah, absolutely. No doubt about it.
But I do understand that type of music is I don't want to say it's important, but that kind of music, a lot of times, man, even for us when we were listening to it and the people that were making it for our generation, it was therapeutic.
Yeah,
they're trying to get all their angst out because they can't go really do that in real life.
Exactly.
You know, on a mass scale. So I got to be able to get it out this way. You know what I mean? So I don't knock the kids that's out here. The only thing I asked of them is I just want the creative aspect to come through, like some of the story rhymes, some of the more like soul joints to come through. And I think it takes a little bit for them to get to that point because there are artists that some people might not think do that type of music, but like a T Grizzly, his approach is so hands-on and like it's like he beating you up with his soul. I'm like, God damn, like this is crazy, but it's there, like it's there. And I think the A&R aspect, getting refined, someone just actually just shining them up because the talent is there. You just need those people to come in and just make those things a little bit more polished.
For sure. You know, I feel like you are in a sort of a similar position that we're in with Day1Radio. Like in October, it'll be 7 years. And we was early on the podcast thing.
Yo, it was early, bro. Y'all were early. That's dope.
So, but I feel like a lot of, our supporters are used to entertainment. Like they're used to us talking to the rappers, the singers, the athletes, the actors, all of that stuff. But right now, like, I don't feel like singing and dancing. You know what I mean? I feel like hitting y'all with some real shit. So like, bro, what do you feel like media, especially Black media's role is in telling these stories? Like, bro, the cops that killed Breonna Taylor still not locked up. You feel what I'm saying? Like, there's been 120 police killings since George Floyd was murdered. Like, it just feels weird to be talking about the album that's coming out on Friday when this shit is going on. Like, bro, what do you feel? And not just for yourself, but just in general, even as a consumer, as somebody who consumes media, what do you feel like Black media's role is in that? With that?
It's exactly what you were just saying. Black media's role is to make sure that the bullhorn is on. Make sure that we're saying exactly what you said about those police numbers. 120 police killings since? Like, come on, bro. That's crazy. That means like y'all ain't even trying to slow down. And if you are slowing down, that's still too much.
Right.
Like being able to get that type of stuff out. And that takes a different type of writer a lot of times. That's not the writer that's gonna, talk about the West Side Gun album. And I'm not generalizing or stereotyping.
Right.
Because there are writers that can do both. I'm just saying you want to be able to get somebody that's going to get those numbers in be able to analyze those numbers, know the people that can go and do the research to get the information from the police departments and all that stuff. And a lot of times, like, it takes people that are a lot more skilled than just being able to say, I like track number 7.
Yeah.
And that's one of the deals that I have to really work hard on, is finding those voices that might not be on other platforms for me to go and run and grab. You know, I got to look at Twitter and try to see, oh, this person has a really good or interesting take on that. Let me see what they do. You know, looking at some of these other voices in different ways, and having people hit me up as well, and really going through some new talent. And it's going to take new voices too, man. I'm not shunning the old voices. I really want some of these new ones that's coming in, man. Some of these 20-year-olds that can actually understand and think like, what's going to happen to them when they're 40. I want those voices, because I'm in my 40s. I'm looking at what's going to happen to me in my 60s. They're not necessarily thinking about that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it is one of those things where I wish we can have some kind of funnel a little bit more so now, and not get lost in all of us arguing at each other on Black Twitter. Yeah. You know, and that's and a lot of that is going on right now. That's kind of like is really disheartening. You know, we got to check each other, but at some point we got to check each other and then be like, all right, cool, what we doing? Because it's a lot easier to just check and then not try to heal and or get together and figure out how we gonna fix. Nobody wants to do that kind of work, because the fixing work means you got to really sit down and hear somebody that has an opposing view and try to work through that with them, instead of just saying you wrong or this is foul. You know what I mean? So I'm in a heavy space right now, bro. I'm in a heavy space seeing a lot of this stuff going on, and like you said, being in a position of not necessarily influence, but I have a brand, and I want that brand to be all encompassing on these different levels of this conversation that we're having now on Black life, because that's what it is. It's Black life. You know what I mean?
And I feel you on that, because like kind of like what you were saying earlier, it's kind of akin to like when, you know, folks decide to jump down some of our favorite rappers' throat when they try to say something, and it's like you realize, well, shit, why are we asking this dude what they think? They don't make music about the shit. You know what I'm saying? like why
and even if they do make music about it, because I know where we going with this, even if they do make music about it, do they always have the answer?
Yeah.
No.
And then if they speak on something and they finally do say something and it's not in agreement with your opinion, now they dirtbags. And it's like, I don't know, man. It's a different time, man. And that's the thing. We can't even agree to disagree and then work past the disagreeing, because it's all about who's right and who's wrong. Not like, all right, my opinion is this, your opinion is that. Cool. Are we on the same accord that this shit need to be fixed? Okay, we are. Let's do that.
Right. Absolutely. It's like, do you want to be right or do you want to be in a relationship?
There you go. Because obviously you want to know what I think. You want to know what I feel. You've heard me speak intelligently in other forms on it. Maybe in this particular thing, I don't know. And I need some answers on that. And am I wrong for not knowing? And am I wrong for even saying that? You know? But I do feel as though there's some ways, and some ways that people just can't explain it. You know, even me now, like when you're trying to explain it, you don't want to offend anybody, because then they take it like that's your viewpoint on how they are as a person, rather than their opinion on that topic. So,
but you know what though, and I say this often now, like I don't even worry about offending folks no more. It's like I read that book, the Sellout, a few years ago, and there's this one line in there that I always go back to. It's like there was a scene in there where somebody said something, and somebody was like, oh, "I'm offended," and the character was like, "The fuck does that even mean? Like that's not even an emotion. Like it's like mad, sad, happy, offended. What? Like that's not even an emotion. What the fuck does that mean? You know what I'm saying?"
Right. And I would attribute it. This is just me speaking off the cuff. I would attribute being offended is being mad that your emotion, whatever that emotion is, isn't reciprocated by that person that you're offended by. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, you don't sympathize and empathize with my emotion right now. You don't get it. And it's like, well, I might not have all the information you have, or I might not be privy to your opinion in the way that I'm privy to it. And I think the main thing is just like everybody has to try to get on a similar accord, because we're not going to be on the same thing every time. We just not. It's just not going to happen.
Nah, definitely not. So, you know, a lot of people know that, you know, you were pretty much a pioneer with King magazine for sure. And we've seen, you know, I've started my own situation. Maurice had his own situation. Jerry did his thing. Yep. Elliot did his thing. A lot of us have done our things. And I always, you know, when I see these, and I champion all of them, promote all of them, support all of them, but I'll always think like, bro, how powerful would it have been, or would it be, if all of us who have at different levels run shit in this game get together, pool our contacts and pool our resources, and create our own situation?
Man, I mean, that's the age-old question, bro. And to even be a part of that kind of thought process with creating something that's like a cultural staple. I look at King as a cultural staple.
Absolutely.
It defines a time. It was definitely very influential on so many different accords. Even the way that Elliot ran Double XL. Let's bring the source in there. If we're just going to keep it on the magazine level, scratch all that, especially all the things at Harris. I remember sitting in that office, because altogether my 2 times there, I was there for 11 years. And I thought about like, damn, man, we cornered the market on blackness at this spot. On black culture, there was no stone unturned, bro. No stone unturned.
No.
Anything that black people consumed in life, we covered it. We covered it in all spectrums on a high level.
Yes.
And it was like, dad, we don't own it. And, you know, I think that could change now. I really think that can change now. And I think, you know, what we did gave today's, you know, entrepreneurs and fearless media people that's going to come up behind us that are black. I think they're going to look at that time and be like, nope, we're going to own this.
Yeah.
Nope, we're going to have our say and we're going to own it. And it would have been dope if we all pulled together and got things right. But then when you say that, you attribute that to the NBA, then or sports. Then you attribute that to music. Then you attribute that to pharmaceuticals. Then you attribute that to politics. When you start doing it like that, you're like, damn, where's the block? Systemic racism. Where's the block? Sexism. Where's the block? Just broke.
Right. It take money. It do take money.
You know what I'm saying?
Brokeism.
Brokeism. And you know, when you say we pool together, usually pooling together is money. It's like, yo, who got in on this gas? Who got in on whatever weed somebody get? Who got in on this? You know what I'm saying? That's when black people get together. We got to do that on a collective base on that next level, man. And I feel like it's gonna happen.
Yeah. You know, and it's interesting because I feel like you're a little closer to it than I am. And Maurice asked you about it earlier. Like, fam, like I work at Clark Atlanta, and Maurice works with a lot of high school students with journalism. Bro, I don't see that next generation with the same vigor and passion for covering black stories and covering this culture as I did when I was coming up, when you were coming up. Like, and I could be wrong. I could definitely be wrong, but I just don't see it. You brothers are closer, so you can correct me if I'm wrong.
Maurice, you want to go, then I go?
Yeah. So it's like I see it, but the interesting thing, like in this moment, right now, because I do work with high schoolers, and like, you know, a lot of them are still figuring out who they are in the world. You know what I'm saying? So they're like, okay, I know I'm black, but shit, am I weird because I like K-pop? Am I weird because I like this white shit over here? So they're still figuring out who they are. But like in this moment right now, their blackness is like shit, like hopping right on their back, like, hey, look how they doing you in the media, and this is what you get to look forward to. So like now they're kind of like, damn, you know what? I do need to talk my shit about this. You know what I'm saying? So like they're understanding it on that front. Like I hate that I had to get introduced to them in that way, because you would love for it to be like, well, I got introduced to it through the music, through the fashion, through the this. A lot of them are getting introduced to it through like racism, police brutality. Wow. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's like, so to answer the question, I definitely see it, especially in this moment right now, because I'm like, no, man, I can't be quiet about this shit. I've got to look up why this happened. I've got to say something about this. Hell, I got to call out my friend who's doing that dumb shit on Instagram today that's connected to that. You know what I'm saying? So like I do see it, you know what I'm saying? I do see it, you know what I'm
saying? And you know, to echo that a little bit more, so yes, even pre-COVID, I would have different students come up, whenever I do panels and stuff like that at different colleges or organizations, I would always get hit with like a super smart young one, and I try to stay in contact with them as much as I can. A lot of them hit me on DM, but I will say, I bet you, and I don't know this for certain as far as the numbers are concerned, but I bet you if we were to go back and look at all the different publications that were started by young people during the civil rights era at all these different colleges and even just locally, I bet you that was the time where we had the most push from Black writers and people that were just documenting the movement. I bet you that was probably the most, because they're inspired and they want to get that information out, and they want to be able to say, my voice is heard in this moment, to document what we're trying to change and bring forth for everybody that's coming behind us, and to honor the people that's going to come before us. And I feel like that's happening now. It's just not going to happen in the ways that we had it with magazines and stuff. It's all these TikToks. It's all these it's all these snaps. It's the Instagram stories and people just building their own broadcasting systems. Yeah. And we're probably going to have even more of the ones that are younger that's a little bit more serious than just a dance challenge. We're going to start having, because even my 13-year-old, I have 3 daughters, 19, 17, and 13. My 13-year-old, man, she's militant as heck, bro. She be in here talking, Anderson Cooper and Don Lemon. She be right there with me. And then do you know the number? Like, who are you? Who are you right now? We just did a march. We had our socially distanced and mask and everything. We just did a march on Father's Day, and it was just beautiful to see so many of the Black families and full families, just walking down from the church over to Roy Wilkins Park. And I'm just like, dag, man, people are invested. They're invested. This is on Father's Day. It's easy to just sit back and chill. There's so many Black men out there, and I felt honored to be out there. And that was our first time going into like a big group like that. But, we wanted to make sure that we were good. But just like in our hearts, we were just like, all right, this is our opportunity to show our allegiance with the message. But then there was also that time, you seen a lot of photographers, you seen people out there that had their notes. And I'm like, whoa, this is dope, man. So I think it's going to happen in that way,
Dope. That's good to hear, man. That's inspiring. Yeah. For sure. And I think, like you said, it's up to us to foster that. It's up to us
all the way
to give them that game. You know what I mean? And because I feel like they learn from us, even if we're not teaching. So we might as well step up and teach as well.
All the way.
Yeah, definitely. Man, I appreciate you, brother.
Yo, thank y'all for having me, man. Y'all know I've been a supporter since day one. I know y'all hear that all the time.
Of course. Yo,
word up, man.
For sure. Is there anything coming up, man, that you want to plug from Vibe? Or I know you have a couple other situations going on as well.
Yeah.
That you want to put out there.
Definitely, man. Just want to, anybody that's watching that's been supporting my hat company 22 for all these years. I'm coming up on 7 years with that as well. And it's
still
most
not an
successful.
Oakland head. We ain't got an Oakland
I
head
know,
yet.
but the LA joints is going crazy. We got to get Oakland for you.
It's not
we
the same
just dropped
thing.
the ATL joint.
We've been having this conversation for 15 years. It's not the same thing.
I know. We gonna get it. We gotta get the Oakland joint, bro. We gotta get the Oakland joint. But yeah, that's been popping. And then we have our hip hop power players coming later this fall for Billboard that I'm been a big proponent in making happen. Once I got over to Billboard and stuff, we started that in 2017. It was just a thought of expanding an opportunity for all the Black executives to be acknowledged within that publication. And now look, like we have like a whole platform. Every year it gets bigger. And we honored Steve Carlos last year for his work with Nipsey Hussle and Nipsey and Beyonce and Steve Pammon over at Parkwood for their excellent work. And just hoping to expand that and to really just get Vibe into a place where it's still that legacy brand that you can trust. And I just want to be able to maintain that if I'm there and even if I'm not. I just want it to be a solid foundation for anybody to be able to add to the convo. So
absolutely,
there we go.
Absolutely. Well, brother, I want to thank you not only for doing this interview, but thank you for all that you've contributed to the game, putting people
appreciate
on,
that, bros. Likewise,
holding it down, man. For sure, man. We appreciate y'all listening and appreciate y'all watching as well. Make sure you follow us on Day1Radio. It's DAY, the number 1 radio. Make sure you subscribe, rate, and review. We'll see you next week with another dope show. Peace.
Peace.
Thanks.